but it is really nice to have all of you here. We do have a short presentation, and then there will be a chance for question and answer at the end of the presentation. I want to just start by saying that we're presenting tonight as if we are going back to school in the fall. So we're not going to be talking about, the possibility of what learning will look like in the fall. We're definitely just presenting as if we are going back to school in the fall in real school. So with that, I'm going to start my presentation. Oh, let's see. Okay. And I'm going to start right here. Can everyone see the screen? It's loading right now. Okay, great. All right, so welcome to the Ralph Wheelock Parent Information Night for grades 1 into 2. So I'm going to quickly just introduce ourselves. So I'm Holly Caulfield. I'm the principal at Wheelock. I'm finishing my first year at Wheelock. I'm not necessarily the way I'd hoped to end my first year, but nonetheless, it is the end of my first year. I will say that I have really, really enjoyed working in Medfield, and I truly believe this is where I am supposed to be. Right below me in these pictures are Mary Beth Reedy, Mrs. Mary Beth Reedy, who is one of our secretaries, and Mrs. Beth DiGregorio, both phenomenal secretaries. I'm sure you will have lots of interactions with them through your time at Wheelock. And next we have our school nurse, Mrs. Schemer, and Mrs. Schemer is actually here with us this evening too. Next we have our wonderful second grade team. So as I say your name, if you could just give a wave so parents can see who you are. So we have Mrs. Carey, we have Ms. Connolly, we have Mrs. Dion, we have Mrs. Laliberty, and we have Miss Melville. Mrs. Previty was unable to make it this evening. She actually has a small child and an infant at home, so she was unable to make the presentation tonight. We also have Mrs. Murphy, Mrs. Plimpton, and Miss Ryan. So those are our fabulous superstar second grade teachers. And if at the end, if there are any questions, I'm sure that they will assist me in answering them. And let's see. This is our third grade team. Just to give you an idea, we have currently have 10 third grade teachers. You'll notice Ms. Heavey is one of our third grade teachers. She's actually going to be moving into our library media position. So we'll have 9 third grades next year. Next, we have our special education staff. And again, this is sort of reminding me of those parties you go to where you're introduced to a ton of people and you don't remember anyone's name. So I'm not going to spend too much time introducing you. So because you will get to know them as you get more familiar with Wheelock School. So we have some special education staff, Mrs. O'Sullivan, Mrs. Kennedy, Mrs. Scales, Mrs. Albert, Mrs. Singer. We do have our service dog, Franklin, which the kids really enjoy getting to know Franklin throughout the year. We have a reading team of 3 teachers, Mrs. Duffy, Mrs. Myers, and Mrs. Murphy. We have a newly hired math interventionist by the name of Mrs. Belsky. Our guidance department consists of Mrs. Bockhorst and Mrs. Johnson, our guidance counselor and our school psych. And as I mentioned, Mrs. Heavey is our library media specialist, and Mrs. Foley is our technology integration specialist. We also have special subjects. So teachers, children participate in special subjects each week. So they have art for one time a week for 45 minutes, music 1 time a week for 45 minutes, physical education they have twice a week for 45 minutes, health and wellness, and library media they switch off, but we might be changing that schedule up a little bit. But you can see here our special subject teachers, Mr. Stevens, Mrs. Murray, Mrs. Stouffer, Mrs. Babin. We also offer world language, and we'll talk a little bit about that later in the presentation. But we have Mrs. McKaylee, who's our Mandarin teacher, and Mrs. Garcia, who is our Spanish teacher. I don't know if Mrs. Stouffer wanted to add anything at this point regarding our special subjects. There she is. No, you're all set?
I'm all set, thank you.
Great, perfect. So when you're visiting Wheelock School, we love to have visitors, but if you could just follow a few protocols, that would be really helpful for us. And they include coming in the front door and ringing the bell. Obviously, you can't get in without ringing the bell, but it's hard when parents try to get into other doors during the school day because it just makes for an unsafe environment. So if you are planning on coming to school, please enter through the front door. One of the secretaries will ask you to identify yourself and just ask why you're there. We do have a visitor log, and we have visitor lanyards that we ask parents to wear when they're coming into the building. And then when you're ready to leave, if you could just sign out, that would be most helpful, just because we want to keep the environment at Wheelock very safe for all of the students. Arrival and dismissal is very similar to Memorial School. Most of our students come by bus. The buses pull up. Some buses come to Wheelock first and then go to Memorial and Dale. And then we have about half of the buses that do the opposite route. So they arrive anywhere between 8:10 and 8:25. Students do go outside and play during nice weather or head into the caf or the gym during inclement weather. Just to let you know, if your child is on a bus that goes to Memorial and Dale first, they will not have as much time to play in the morning as those students that are getting there at 8:10. And that sometimes is a disappointment for our second graders, but it is the way it is because we do need to get school started at 8:30. So at 8:25, the bell rings and all the students line up. Drop off for recess. So if you're dropping your kids off, please don't drop them off any earlier than 8:10, just because we don't have supervision out at the playground and we don't want anyone to get hurt. There is before school care, and it's available in the small gym. It begins at 7:00 a.m. and the cost is $7 per day. There is no need to give advance notice. If you find yourself in a pickle and you need to drop the kids off for before school care, that's where you can do it. And Wheelock School, the day begins at 8:30. The kids are in the building, usually about 8:30. The bell rings at 8:25, we line up and then we get all the kids in. I would say the kids are starting to learn by about 8:40. So we really need kids to get to school on time. It's very, very important. And then the school day officially ends at 3:00. We start calling buses around 2:47 to be exact. On early release days, the day ends at 11:45. Dismissal Manager, which you have used at the Memorial School. So your child's daily plan can be updated via your smartphone, but please make sure you do it before 1:30 p.m. each day. It causes a lot of difficulties for our secretarial staff to get the information out to teachers if it comes in after that time. So you can put on the Dismissal Manager late arrivals, absences, school dismissals, bus stop changes, pickups, clubs, anything you need to put up regarding your child's dismissal can go through Dismissal Manager. Information is sent directly to the Wheelock staff, office staff, and information is sent to the classroom teachers by the end of the day. But the teachers don't check it until the end of the day, so please make sure you're getting it into Dismissal Manager and not going directly to the teacher, because again, that might cause confusion for your child. And then Mrs. Schemer is going to talk to us about medication at school. I know this looks like a lot of information, but she's going to give you the sort of roundup of it. Mrs. Schemer? She's still muted. Let's see. There she goes.
Okay, I think I'm, can you hear me now?
Yes, you're good.
So this is the abbreviated version. You can read the screens that are in front of you, but basically, as Holly was saying, for the safety of everyone, the school nurse will give any medication that's brought to school. Parents need to bring the medication to school, and the students should not have it in their backpack and plan to give it to themselves. We have different kinds of medicine that the nurses give. We give Ritalin, things like that, which definitely needs to be brought in by a parent and given to the school nurse. But we also have EpiPens for just in case, and we have inhalers and things like that. So if there is a medication that needs to come, we need a medication form, which you can find on the website or just call me. It's all, we need the doctor to order even over-the-counter medicines that aren't covered in that little blue sheet that you fill out in the beginning of the year, allowing us to give Tylenol or Motrin or something like that. And also, please don't send things in baggies, that sort of thing. We need it in the original bottle. So we just please ask that a doctor give the order. And as I said, anything you have a question about on these forms, just give me a call. And anything like an antibiotic that's just needed for like a week or 10 days, you can just send in the bottle, and that's all we need. We don't need the doctor's order for that. So the main point is keep in touch with me, and that will help, and we'll figure it out. Whatever, if you only have one inhaler, we can figure out how to work that in the school day. So you can switch the slide to the life-threatening allergy policy. This is also to keep the students all safe. We do have allergy forms that if we know of an allergy, we will send that home to you so that your allergist or PCP can fill those out. We communicate to the teachers through Aspen, and through the beginning of the year, we do a training with all staff so they know how to prevent allergy, problems, and what to do if there are symptoms. And they're trained to give an EpiPen should they need to on a field trip. We've also started something called Party in a Bag, which I think you'll enjoy if your child has an allergy, because they bring their own special treats in a bag. So it makes it much more simple for everyone and safer. And we've had great success with that for this year. And we have, you can read the rest of the form. There's not a lot on there, but just the only other thing I think that's different than Memorial is there's an optional allergy table, and the student can sit there if they choose, or if the parents let us know, and they can sit there and invite a friend from their class who is buying lunch, because then we know it's nut free. And we also are starting with a new form this year that you can fill out for our food service director, and she can work with you on what to buy if your child is ready to start buying. And that's it for me.
Okay, thank you. So we offer lunch daily in our cafeteria. If your child does have any dietary restrictions or allergies, I would strongly encourage you to reach out to Caitlin Fahey, and that's her email address there, to discuss your specific concerns with her. She does a really nice job working with parents to try to work through and figure out a plan for the kids. By the way, I will be sharing this presentation at the end, so don't feel like you need to write down these email addresses or things like that. So there are 4 lunches and 4 recesses at Wheelock School. We started doing recess before lunch, and that has proven to be a really good practice. What it does, what we found that it does, it sort of alleviates some of those concerns that happen at recess. Kids tend to let them go because they go into the cafeteria, have their lunch, and it just makes for a smoother transition. Also, we find that kids are more hungry because they've been running around outside. So we found that the lunch before recess, the recess before lunch has worked really, really well. So the first recess starts at 11:10 to 11:30. The second recess is 11:35 to 11:55. The third recess is 12 o'clock to 12:20. And the fourth recess is 12:30 to 12:50. As far as lunch goes, the first lunch, so the kids that were out at recess go into lunch for 11:35 to 11:55. Second lunch is 12 o'clock to 12:20. The third lunch is 12:25 to, I have a bar in the way so I can't see the time, there we go, 12:25 to 12:45. And then the final lunch, the final lunch is 12:50 to 1:10. I believe that's what it says. So the kids, there are usually 4 to 5 classes in a lunch. We went from 3, it's 12:55 to 1:15. We went from 3 lunches the previous year to 4 this year. And what it's shown us is the kids tend to, first of all, the behavior has improved immensely because there's less children in there at one time. The kids are really, they're able to spread out. We don't have to worry about, we have options for children with allergies and just dietary restrictions to sit at different places. So we've really found that the having 4 lunches has been really beneficial as well. Parent-teacher conferences. So please feel free to contact your child's teacher if you have any questions at all regarding your child's progress, but we do have scheduled parent-teacher conferences, which are, I'm sorry, so you can set up a meeting or a phone conversation at any point, but we do offer 2 scheduled parent-teacher conferences during the school year. The first one, the winter conference dates are Thursday, December 10th, 2020, and Tuesday, December 15th, 2020. And the spring conferences are Thursday, March 18th, 2021, and Tuesday, March 23rd, 2021. So again, don't feel like you have to write these down. We'll send out plenty of information about them as we lead up to them. But I just want to emphasize that you are our partner. That's how we get information about your child, is through you. So please feel free to contact your child's teacher if you have any concerns, and I'm sure the teacher will be very responsive to it. I'm not going to read this whole mission statement, but basically we have a commitment to teach young students language acquisition of a second language. So we follow the American Council of the Teaching of Foreign Languages with can-do statements. We have 2 really phenomenal world language teachers, Mrs. McKaylee and Mrs. Garcia, who meet with the students 2 times a week for 40 minutes. And the kids really, really enjoy the world languages. So all of you have already identified what language you want your child to be taking next year. And they'll, I think, really enjoy world language. We use Open Circle as our social curriculum at Wheelock. All the teachers have been trained in it. And Open Circle provides a unique social and emotional learning program for students K through 5. And so basically everyone in the entire Wheelock community uses the same language around conflict resolution, how to treat each other respectfully, greeting a friend. And we have what's called an morning meeting. Most classes have what's called a morning meeting where they identify a skill and talk to the kids about it. So Open Circle proactively develops children's skills, recognizing and managing emotions, empathy, positive relationships, and problem solving. And it helps schools develop a community where students feel safe, cared for, and engaged in learning. So Open Circle has been a really nice program for us to use. We do have standards of behavior for the students, and feel free to take these and use them at your home as well. I try to use them with my family. Doesn't always work. But so the standards of behavior are: we, the people of Wheelock School, are respectful, we're reliable, we're cordial, and we're hardworking. And so then we talk to the students about what that looks like. So we respect each other's and adults in the school. That includes each other's belongings, feelings, and bodies. We walk silently in the hallway, so we're not disturbing the learning of others. We speak with respectful voices. We are responsible for our own personal space. That includes desks, code areas, and backpacks. Also, they are responsible for cleaning up after themselves after lunch. We try our hardest. We treat each other, this bar keeps getting in my way, cordially. We can count on each other. So these are our standards of behavior. The kids are really, I feel like they're really well behaved. We have a lot of kids in different areas at different times of the day. For example, recess, the kids really do get along very nicely. So it's nice to see that the students are adhering to our standards of behavior. We also have a Wheelock Peacebuilder pledge, which we recite each morning. And it says, I am a Wheelock Peacebuilder. I pledge to praise people and be kind to everyone. I would try to notice and speak up when others have hurt feelings. I will build peace at home, at school, and in my community each day. We did have to add a line during our remote time that while keeping social distance, that we're going to build peace at home, at school, and in our community each day. So the students know this. They really, it really helps give them a context, and we can talk about if they may make a mistake with their behavior. We can say, you know, were you being a peace builder when you did that? So I think that this is a really nice way to frame what a peace builder is for an elementary student. We have a wonderful PTO that is active and engaged, and there's a PTO. Please check out the the Wheelock PTO website, and the address for it is right here. Some ways to get involved with our PTO is to attend the meetings. We've had pretty good attendance this year. I would love to see more parents coming out. We try to switch it up, have some in the morning, some in the evening to meet people's schedules. Become a room parent. That's a great way to get involved. Another way is to sign up on the volunteer form that comes out. It's a Google form that comes out at the beginning of the year, and it gives you lots of ways that you can volunteer to help. We have a victory garden in front of the school, and we're always looking for parent volunteers to help with that. Rocky Woods, so that's a 3rd grade event, but we often look for 2nd grade parents to help so that 3rd grade parents can participate in some of the activities. Mystery readers, all teachers love having mystery readers, and the students love when their parents and family members come in to read. I room parent twice, sorry. Just getting involved with PTO, asking where you can help, or coming up with an idea, that would be great. We do have a courtyard that does need some tending to at times, at different times of the year. Right now it happens to look really nice. No one can really see it, but if you'd like to help with that, if you have a green thumb, help volunteering on field trips. Help in the library. We're going to be looking for parent volunteers to help reshelve books and help students pick out books. We have a walking club that meets in the nice weather, both in the fall and in the spring. So we're always looking for parent volunteers that can help with that. And school beautification. We have a showcase right when you first walk into the school, and we have these beautiful outdoor pots that parents really do a nice job keeping them fresh, and it really just makes for a nice environment when you walk into the school. And any special project, if you have an idea or a skill set and you want to present a project, that is great with me. I would love to see lots of volunteers. The students love seeing their parents in the school, and it really helps us build that partnership between home and school. So field trips, with the help of PTO, there are curriculum-rated field trips. This year, unfortunately, our 2nd graders were supposed to go to Roger Williams Zoo and never quite made it. But let's see, fingers crossed for next year. In 3rd grade, they go to Plymouth Plantation, Rocky Woods, and they take a historical tour of Medfield. So that's one of the things that PTO helps fund for us. We do have cultural arts programs that PTO also generously pays for. So Rob Surratt, who's an amazing hero artist, was supposed to come this year, but we've pushed him off, so he'll be coming next year. We also have the Tanglewood Marionettes, who are phenomenal. The kids always enjoy that. We have the Bay Colony educators who come in and talk to the students. Mark Rothstein, who is the jump rope guy. If you haven't seen him, he's a pretty interesting and cool gentleman, and he comes in and does a jump rope during Jump Rope for Heart week. He does a little program for the students then. We've had Ben Franklin come in, and we've had the Earth Dome come in. So we also are always looking for new and exciting cultural arts events to come in. So if that's something you're interested, the cultural arts subcommittee meets with me regularly, and we come up with a plan for the year of what the kids can see. So technology at Wheelock School, we have Epson projectors, document cameras, iPads, and Chromebooks, and we have robotic probots. This year, through a very generous MCPE grant, we created an area called the Fab Lab, and here's a couple pictures of some kids engaging in some activities in the Fab Lab. And so classes bring their kids down, and they engage in different STEM activities or STEAM activities, and it has been such a popular thing at Wheelock School. Mrs. Foley, our technology integrator, came up with this wonderful idea, and it's just been hugely popular at Wheelock. So this is a picture of the kids. I just love seeing the kids in it. Let's see, what can you do as a parent? So you already started, you're here. So thank you very much for that. Please read the communications that come from school. I know it's a lot. Trust me, I am a parent and I get a lot of communications, but it's important for you to read them because I don't want you to miss something that comes home from school that you really need to know about. Come to Pin Night in the fall. We don't have a scheduled date for that, just waiting to see what it's going to look like. But if you can make it, that's a really great way to just continue to stay involved. Participate in PTO and also in different Wheelock projects. Or if you want to become a member of our site council, you could do that. Communicate with your teacher in school. So if you're having an issue, please let us know, because we can't fix something that we don't know about. So if, you know, we don't know what's being talked about on the sidelines at a soccer game, but we do know when people come to us and ask us things, and we're more than willing to work with you. But if the teachers and I don't know what's going on, there's no way we can work through things. Set up a homework routine, so a place and a time for your kids to do homework. That is not only going to help your student, that's going to help you, because it will just make things much smoother at home for you. Encourage your child to do his or her best work. So your attitude towards school is going to be your child's attitude towards school. So if you are a cheerleader for Wheelock School, for your child's teacher, for your child's classroom, then the child is going to feel very encouraged by that. Reinforce organizational skills. I mean, I'm still doing that with my senior in high school. Well, now she's going to be graduating, but it's really important to develop those skills early and just kind of stay on top of them. Encouraging reading and read with your child as much as possible. That is probably one of the most important things that you can do as a parent. Practice your math facts. I mean, incorporate cooking if you can, but practice your math facts as much as possible, because the more automatic the math facts are, the better the student is going to do with the math skills. Oops, going ahead of myself. Try to keep a schedule. So try to have a scheduled bedtime. Make sure your kids are well rested. I know that all of that has sort of gone out the window during this pandemic time, but it's really important that you try to keep a schedule. Kids thrive on a schedule, and that's why they do so well in school, because we are so scheduled at school. So if you can get a schedule set up at your house, that's great, and try to stick to it as best you can. And let your child know that school is important to you. Again, your attitude about Wheelock School is going to be your child's attitude about Wheelock School. So if you could do that, that would be fantastic. And ask us for help, and we'll ask you for help. So if we are struggling with how to handle something that your child is going on with your child, we're going to ask you for help. Please reach out and ask for help. Many of us have been doing this a long time, and we kind of, we've had probably similar situations that are going on in your home, and we can help you work through different things. The supply ordering, thank you to the PTO. They're running this. They also are running it at Memorial. They ran it at Memorial last year as well. So the fundraiser deadline is June 19th. The order window is open now. Each grade level has a supply list for the orders. And you don't need to know your child's teacher yet. You can just go ahead and order. Individual teachers sometimes ask for a couple of extra items or specific items for their class, but those will come out later in the summer. So that is basically our presentation tonight around Wheelock School. I noticed I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. I noticed that there are, what about washing hands after recess and before lunch? So that's an excellent question. There is a sink in the cafeteria, and there's also antibacterial dispensers outside each of the lunchroom doors. So we do encourage the kids to wash their hands coming in from recess. I have to be honest, not all kids do adhere to that, but we do really strongly encourage it. Also, I noticed some parents send in antibacterial containers in their child's lunchbox, and they clean off their hands before they eat their lunch. And then the next question is recess second grade only or mixed with third grade? Some recesses are only second grade, and some are mixed depending on the makeup because we have 9 of each class. So we do have to have, I think 1 or 2 of them are mixed. So can you please tell us about the extracurricular activities and club activities? So we do have extracurricular activities, enrichment activities that are run through the district, probably similar to what was happening at Memorial. And we also have a chess club, and we have a passport club that meet. So some of the enrichments include, and also Fast Athletics do sports enrichment after school. So some of the enrichment, actually, could I ask either, I know Mrs. Plimpton taught one, Miss Conley, Miss Melville, if maybe you can talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I'm just going to list off a couple that I have done in the past couple of years. I did an art club with Miss Ryan, and I did a comic book club with Miss Melville this year, which was cut short, unfortunately, but both were a lot of fun.
Great.
With the comic book club, I also did a running club with Miss Connolly, which was awesome. And we set it up in time so that it ended right before the Angel Run. So it was kind of like a build up for that, which the kids loved. So.
And interesting, I don't know if any of your children are taking the remote enrichment that's going on right now. The absolute most popular remote enrichment was taught by our very own Mrs. Laliberty, who is teaching Legos. So that's been really, really, really popular. So I'm wondering if maybe we can add that to our repertoire of after school enrichments. So let's see. The next question was, what are the rules about drinking water during the day and in the classroom? Well, we really strongly encourage it. We encourage kids to bring water bottles to school. We actually did get an MCP grant for water filling stations, which were going to be installed prior to the school, us not being in school. So we do strongly encourage kids to drink water throughout the day. And let's see, do you have any recommendations for help to reinforce organizational skills? My biggest tip would be to make lists. Lists are so important, and to have visuals for your kids. So if you want them to set up their homework a certain way, set it up the way you want it, take a picture of it so they have a visual. If you want their room to look a certain way, take pictures of that and have those available for kids, because kids tend to be really visual. And my other recommendation is don't give multiple try to break down your directions and into smaller chunks to help kids stay organized that way, because as we know, we can tell them to go upstairs, brush your teeth, get your pajamas on and hop in bed, and you go upstairs and they're playing with their Legos. So just kind of breaking things down to really specific expectations, I think will really help with the organization. As far as organizing when homework comes, give them some choice, but also set timelines, time frames, and just sort of have like a schedule for them during their homework time. I don't know if any teachers have any other tricks of the trade around organization.
I think the picture one is a big one. I know I do those in the classroom. Like I'll put a picture on the caddy of what I want everything to look like. And I find that to be really helpful.
Great. The next question is, when will we find out our child's teacher? You will get an email from the district on Monday, June 15th, and then you'll be invited to a virtual meeting with the teacher for the next day, which is Tuesday, June 16th. So it will go out in an email from the district. So you'll find out before the last day of school who your child's next year teacher will be. When would you know plans for the fall? I heard on BPS there are 3 different scenarios debated: full school, hybrid, half classes, in school, half week. Yeah, that is still being debated. I actually get less information than the superintendent who gets more information, but we have not had any discussion about what the fall will look like, not knowing what's coming from both the state and the Department of Education. So we'll probably know more during phase 2 of reopening, but at this point I really have absolutely no idea, and I don't even, I don't feel comfortable even predicting what next year will look like at this point. Let's see, is the transition to after school program the same as Memorial? As far as going to MAP, that after school program, the kids meet in a certain area and the MAP staff come and pick them up and take attendance and then bring them to, we have a MAP building at Wheelock. And then they do use some of our space, the cafeteria and the gymnasium, but the MAP staff do meet children in a central location. Can you briefly talk about the welcome back plan for students? What will be in place to support our children's anxiety about returning to a new school that will likely look and feel very different because of the pandemic? That's an excellent question. And I'm sure we're going to be working a lot over the summer thinking about that, on how we're going to realign the curriculum and plan for students that might be anxious, most likely will be anxious coming back to school, and what that will look like. I'm sure we'll have a great plan in place to support kids when we return to school. How much homework is given in second grade? I'd love to throw that to a second grade teacher. Mrs. Laliberty?
I'll take it for you. So the guidelines really that we have in the district are broken down to about 10 minutes per grade level. So first grade, you would have expected 10 minutes of homework each night. Second grade is about 20 minutes of homework each night, and so forth. So it's kind of included any reading, any math fact practice that kids would be doing is included in that 20 minutes. And we typically give an assignment each night with, I think we all sort of have the clear expectations that, if it's something that is taking your child way longer than the 20 minutes, you stop, it's done. Like, we don't need family battles over homework. Like, nobody wants to do that. So it's about 20 minutes that you could expect every night.
Great, thank you. The next question is, what are your perceptions of the biggest differences in the experience from Memorial to Wheelock? So I don't feel like I am the best person to answer that, because I've been here a minute, really. I've only been here since July 1st. So I don't know if anyone would like to take that, the biggest differences between Memorial and Wheelock.
Go ahead, Joan.
Sorry, I will say, as a parent myself at one point, the biggest transition I think coming over to Wheelock from Memorial School is that at Wheelock, we are the be all end all in our classroom. We don't have an assistant teacher. We don't have people shared to come in and help us out. And I know that the majority of classrooms at Memorial School have at least half of the day with an additional adult to help supervise, facilitate different lessons and whatnot. But at Wheelock School, we are basically it. So, it is a little bit of a change for some of your children.
And that's not to say that some classes don't have support throughout the school day, because some do, but yeah, the teachers are responsible. I think it's not an expectation that every single classroom has a assistance.
Can I add on to you too?
Sure. Yep.
I think through the lens of the students, there are like two big things that come to my mind. One is that there's an upstairs, and that's always so exciting for kids coming from Memorial, is that we get to go upstairs. And the second thing is that at Memorial, they keep all of their belongings out in the hallway, and at Wheelock, we keep them in the classroom, and that's always kind of mind-blowing for them as well.
And two other things come to mind. We do have Franklin, our service dog, which kids do get to interact with. And that's different than Memorial. And secondly, we actually have two gyms. So we have a big gym and a small gym. So that's kind of fun for kids. Depending on who their PE teacher is, they may have instruction in the big gym or may have instruction in the small gym. Let's see. Will there be an opportunity provided to children to do a walkthrough of the school? My son has been very anxious about attending a new school, understandably. And yes, that is in our plan. We just need to make sure that it's safe for kids to come into the school, but we absolutely feel that that's a priority, to get kids in so they can see where they're going to be learning, because I think that I don't think your son is alone in feeling anxious about that. How will you be addressing the second grade curriculum, seeing how the first grade year in the classroom was cut short? Another excellent question. And we will be working this summer to realign the curriculum, knowing that not all students were able to access remote learning, that it was really hard for lots of kids, and sort of looking at what would have been taught from March 12th through June 16th and seeing how we need to realign that. Also, we don't really have assessment data on kids, so we're going to be looking at that in the fall, just to get an idea where kids are when they return to school in the fall. I think we covered the homework question. Let's see, there were a couple on homework. Fall curriculum reteaching subjects that were missed. Yes, we will be. let me just say this, we will take your child from where they are. Like, we're not expecting, we don't have these great expectations that you were the teacher during this remote time. So we're going to really take the children from where they are and make sure that they're getting what they need. Let's see, how is homework delivered, completed, printed, copy, or online? I think that varies from teacher to teacher. I don't know, would one of the teachers want to cover that one?
Go ahead, Kayla, you can do it.
Typically, it is paper homework that would come home to kids, and they'd be bringing it back to school every day.
Great.
And then one of the things too, if I can add on, that we started doing this year, a lot of us, I don't know if everybody did it, but we had packets. So, you know, Monday through Friday was all in one packet. That way, say you had soccer practice on Tuesday, you didn't need to worry about doing that assignment at that very moment. You could kind of spread it out in whatever worked for your family and then pass it in either as you finished or pass it in as a whole packet, whichever was fine with us, which gave a lot of flexibility, and I think that was helpful.
Great. The next question is, thank you for the great presentation. You may not know the answer to this, but I'm wondering if larger groups of students will be graduating to the next grade together in order to address some of the social emotional impacts of this remote learning environment. So for example, are teachers placing more of their current class into the next class rather than spreading them across more classes? So that's an interesting concept. And I think teachers are really carefully considering placement in a different way this year. We're going to be working on it on Friday, as you may have read in an email that was sent out today. But I think teachers are really going to be more conscious about sending kids with peers that they're comfortable with in order to help with that transition to the next grade. So you potentially could see more of one homeroom kind of moving together in a cohort, more so than you would on a typical year. But I can assure you the teachers are really really taking into careful consideration about what the class makeup is going to look like. And I know for sure that that's happening at Memorial because they actually are the ones that do the class placement from kids going from first grade to second grade. So they create the classes for us. Let's see, is there a process developed on sanitizing doorknobs, desks, chairs, and other school equipment? I think that's a really good question. I think we're going to be really following state and Department of Ed guidelines around sanitizing the school. Right now, what's happening is we have our secretaries coming in every other day, and in between their times, we're completely sanitizing the main office. So I think that the whole sanitizing the entire building is going to look very different, and there's going to be a whole new protocol around that. So I don't know the exact answer to that, but I can assure you that we will be following all the guidelines needed to make sure that the kids are safe. How many children are there per classroom? So I believe there's about 20 is the averaging of kids moving up from first grade to second grade. There are about 20 kids per classroom. That's the average. There may be slightly less or slightly more. And then we never know what's going to happen around move-ins over the summer. Sometimes we have, you know, all classes all set and we get some move-ins, so we have to do some shifting that way. But the average class size in grade 2 is about 20. And that, I think I answered all the questions. I'm just going to take a peek here. I think we went through all of them. And let's see, I'll just give it another minute if anyone else has any further questions. You can just put them in the question and answer chat. That one, that one. Yep, I think they're all answered. So if you have any further questions, I will again be sharing the presentation. This was recorded, this presentation was recorded, so I'll be sharing it for those who weren't able to make tonight's meeting. And I'll share the actual Google slide presentation on our website as well. But if you have any further questions, please feel free to email me. My email address is hcaulfield, CAULFIELD @email.medfield.net. And I just want to reiterate how excited we are for your students to come to Wheelock School next year. It's always such an exciting time to have new kids in the building and learn their names and get to know students and their families. So I did notice we do have lots of siblings coming up, but we also have lots of kids that are you're either their first at Wheelock or they don't have any siblings that will be there. So whatever the case may be, we are just so excited. And I think I can speak for the entire team here. We cannot wait to get back to Wheelock School and meet all of your kids.